We're going to do the metta bhavana this morning, which is the cultivation of loving kindness. Metta is means something like loving kindness, and bhavana means to cultivate or to produce in some way. So it's a practice where we are just we're not really sitting down to force out this loving kindness. We're sitting down to see how we are with loving kindness, and usually I guess, we find that we're not always very good with it. We have these ideas about ourselves and about other people, and that's okay, because that's what we need to do first. If we can see our tendencies away from loving kindness sometimes, or just not connecting with loving kindness, then we can, just by seeing that, we start to become kinder and more loving. So I'm going to just start with a poem, because I like starting with a poem sometimes. This one, I don't know where it's from. It's called Common Sense. We have been born into a moment of unprecedented danger and opportunity. Our failure to act is itself a choice. There is nowhere to hide from this awareness. It is time. Our purpose here is to build a bridge. The purpose of the bridge is to span the distance between our present situation and our vision of a better world. The beauty of a bridge is that once it is in place, anyone can walk on it. A few people can build a bridge that can be walked on by many. So the world is in a pretty parlous state, isn't it? I mean, we've got all sorts going on of disagreement and hostility and just unpleasantness. And it's very easy to get caught up in this and to get what you might call horrified anxiety about it, and just wish it would all go away and everything be great. But it's not going to do that, I'm sorry to say. It would be nice if it did. So the other alternative is for us to build this bridge, to build a better world. And this practice that we're going to do this morning, the metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation, is a radical practice that can achieve so much in the world if we keep practicing it. And if we keep changing ourselves, then we begin to change the world around us. And if enough of us do it, then we build this bridge to a much happier future for everybody, and a much more pleasant future. And in the meantime, the great thing is that if we can be kinder, our world immediately becomes kinder as well. So we don't have to wait that long. If we can have a much more positive outlook on the world, our own sense of suffering diminishes, and we begin to be happier. So this idea of unconditional love for all beings, wherever they are, whoever they are, is just a very revolutionary one. It can change the world, and that's what we're going to do this morning. So I'm just going to read a little bit from of what the Buddha said about this, and this is a famous passage that was taken up by I've forgotten his name, one of the leaders of the civil rights movement in America, the leader, whose name just, it's my age, it's my age, it just escapes me. And the Buddha said, "Not by hatreds are hatreds ever pacified. They are pacified by love. This is the eternal law. Not by hatred is hatred ever pacified. Hatred is pacified by love. This is the eternal law." And I think that's really true. If somebody is angry with us and we respond with love and kindness, they don't have anywhere to go. If we respond with anger, then it all spirals out of control. So what this meditation is about, changing our minds so that we try and respond with love to everybody, whatever the circumstances, however uncomfortable. And it's a big ask, to be honest, but it can be done. And the more we practice it, the better things will be. So we can build that bridge. Okay, I've talked enough. Let's get on with the meditation. Martin Luther King, that's who it was. Yeah, great man, and he waged peace, and he waged kindness in all circumstances. Okay, so let's just settle in. Just letting go, really, letting go of any sense of having to hold on to anything, any sense of stiffness of purpose. Just relaxing as much as we can, relaxing the mind, relaxing the body. Noticing any sounds we can hear. Noticing the warmth or the coldness of the air. The contact with the seat. Just letting our weight be held. And relaxing, noticing the breath, not forcing it, just allowing the breath to come and go. And on each out breath, as the shoulders relax, just allowing any tension to drop away through the body into the ground. Just noticing if we're holding our face in any particular way, or our forehead. Just allowing the forehead and the facial muscles to sag. Just to relax. And bringing our awareness down into the upper chest. Noticing the sensation of the breath coming into the lungs and leaving the lungs. Moving down to the bottom of the rib cage, right in the center. And just behind the rib cage is our heart center. The place of all warm feelings. You may or may not be able to feel this center of warmth, this heart center. But just as much as you can, open your mind, open your being to noticing a warm feeling just below, just behind the ribs, in the center of the chest. If you can't notice it, just bring to mind somebody you love a lot and see if that does it. And if it still doesn't, that's okay. But if you can feel this warm feeling in the heart center, just tuning into it, not pushing it, not trying to make it bigger. Just allowing it to grow of its own accord. And if it does grow, allowing it to spread right through the whole of your being. Infusing your body with a sense of warmth and kindness and benevolence. So this feeling is the ultimate. This is what we're trying to achieve when we meet ourselves and our deficiencies, our so-called deficiencies that we might think we have. It's the feeling we're trying to create when we meet our friends and people we love. It's the feeling we're trying to create when we meet a stranger or even a person that we don't get on with. Just seeing the humanity in all of us. The fragile, tender human beings. Putting on a brave face and just doing our best in the world. And we begin, as always, with ourselves. This precious jewel that we call ourself, alive in the world. And sometimes struggling, sometimes really enjoying life. Can we just acknowledge all the ups and downs in our lives, all our good times and bad times, all our good moods and bad moods, our joy and our despair. And can we have a sense of loving kindness towards ourselves, this work in progress, just doing our best to work our way along the path of life. Can we be our own best friend in all circumstances, supporting and helping ourselves? So if we can truly learn to love ourselves just as we are, with all our faults, all our perceived inadequacies, then we can change the world. Through our love of ourselves and our love of others, we can build this bridge to a better life. for ourselves and for others. So first of all, we're going to bring to mind a good friend, somebody that we care about very much. Bringing them to mind as an image, if we can, or if we can't, bringing them to mind just as a sense of them maybe sitting with us, just being with us, our good friend. And it's not hard to love our good friend. There's a natural affection between us. Maybe we can notice how that feels. Occasionally we might not love our good friend quite so much when things happen, but underlying any momentary dissatisfaction, can you sense the deep love that you have for your good friend? And this deep love is a kind of connection with them as a human being, isn't it? It's as if sometimes you're not quite two people. You may not be one, but there's something between you that is very strong. So this is what we're going to try, and over a period of sometime in the future, and the weeks and months and years to come, to develop, to cultivate this same feeling for the stranger, people we don't know, and for even the people that we have difficulty with. So we can maybe bring to mind a stranger that we come into contact with from time to time. Not anybody we know well. Maybe a postie, bus driver, shop assistant, neighbour, somebody that we see relatively often, but we don't talk too much apart from passing the time of day. So can you think of somebody like that? And bring them to mind, either as an image in your imagination or just a sense of this stranger, just a sense of their being somehow, their presence. And just noticing to begin with how you feel about them. What happens when you bring this person to mind? Well, it may be that nothing happens. It may be that you feel a bit neutral, indifferent. And if you do, the great thing to realize is that this is okay. This is what we do. We tend to have a sense of love and kindness towards those who really matter to us. And often strangers don't matter that much. And there's nothing bad about that. But we're trying to change that. We're trying to build a world where everyone has value, everyone has connection with each other. And we have connection with everyone. So just looking a bit deeper at this stranger, this often cardboard cutout that we don't really sometimes relate to. Can we see that they have lives which in many ways are very much like our own? Can we see that sometimes they are so happy and sometimes they just hurt in the same way that we hurt? They have people who love them. They have frustrations in their lives. And just like us, they're going to get sick, they're going to grow old, and one day they're going to die. So this stranger is a tender, fragile human being with all sorts of feelings and probably hang-ups and likes and dislikes, just like us. So can we wish them well? Can we hold them in our hearts? Can we wish them well in their lives? Maybe we can even radiate a sense of loving kindness towards them. I'm going to let the stranger go for now and bring to mind somebody we have a bit of difficulty with. It's maybe somebody we've fallen out with in a fairly mild way, not somebody who presents a real problem to us, just somebody that we are uncomfortable with or don't really get on with very well, maybe without understanding the reason. Somebody who we just would rather not be with. And can we allow ourselves to feel what we feel? There's nothing wrong with that. We're not trying to change how we feel about this person. what we're trying to do is to just acknowledge how we feel. What does it feel like in the body? Maybe a tightening of the chest or a heaviness in the belly when you bring them to mind. A stiffening all over of the body. So whatever happens, that's okay. Just acknowledging that. It's just how we feel about this person. And in spite of how we feel about this person, can we still have a sense of goodwill towards them and their lives? This person is very much like us in many ways, maybe very different in other ways, but this person faces joy and despair in their lives. They have people who love them. They find life difficult and frustrating sometimes. And like us, they're just doing the best. Even though that may sometimes seem not good enough for us. But they are doing the best. And one day, just like us, they're going to be sick, they're going to get old, and one day they'll die, just as we will. Just another fragile, tender human being. So can we, even though we find them difficult, can we open our hearts to them as human beings? Can we have a sense of love and goodwill towards them? Bringing all four people together now. Ourselves, the good friend, the stranger, and the person we find difficult. And just seeing all four of us as, in many ways, basically the same. The same joys, the same despairs, the same feelings of hurt and pleasure. So can we have a sense of goodwill, loving kindness to each of them as equally as we can? In many ways, there's no difference between the four people. Then can we spread that sense of goodwill and loving kindness outwards to the world? Can we build a bridge between ourselves and a better future, a future of love and kindness in the world? Can we have a sense of opening our hearts to everyone who's meditating online with us today? 18 tender, fragile human beings, just doing the best in the world. Can we make a connection there? Can we spread our loving kindness even further to all beings in the world, to all human beings, wherever they are, whoever they are, whatever they're doing? Even those who are acting badly, those who are acting well, those who are kind, those who are mean, every single human being, whatever the circumstances, can we have a sense of goodwill to them in their lives? They're all doing the best in their individual circumstances. And maybe what they're doing isn't always good. Maybe sometimes it is excellent. But underneath every human being, there is a fragile, tender being. Can we have a sense of loving kindness to that fragility? And then can we spread our loving kindness even further to all the other beings on the planet, however small, however big, all animals, birds, water creatures, even insects and other beings? Can we have a sense of goodwill and loving kindness to them as well? Holding them and all beings in our hearts, building this bridge of kindness to the future. We have been born into a moment of unprecedented danger and opportunity. Our failure to act is itself a choice. There is nowhere to hide from this awareness. It is time. Our purpose here is to build a bridge. The purpose of the bridge is to span the distance between our present situation and our vision of a better world. The beauty of a bridge is that once it is in place, anyone can walk on it. A few people can build a bridge that can be walked on by many. Well, I truly believe that kindness is the way to heal the world. And I've noticed that in my life, if I can just be kind when somebody says something awful to me or criticizes me or is rude, if I can just be kind back, then somehow we create something different to the conflict that would otherwise ensue. And it's just magical. It's just magical. And I really encourage you to practice like this and to remember this. When you're on the bus, when you're walking through town, when you're meeting other people, just remembering to open your heart a little bit more to the world around you. It makes such a difference. It really does. Anyway, thank you for joining me this morning. Been great to see you all. Hello to Rachel, Jane, Sarah, and Andrea, who joined us later on. Good to see you all. And I'll be back at 11 with the last morning cuppa of the week, and then back tomorrow for an 8 o'clock meditation again, a pyjama meditation on a Saturday now. Just one meditation. So maybe see you then. If not, I'll see you. I'll be here on Tuesday. Kate's away, so I'll be here on Tuesday to begin the week with a body scan. So maybe see you then. Okay. So lots of love to you. Take care.